Yeah. Just thought I'd do a play with some cards quickly. See what comes out. Illusory obstacles. Things holding us back that okay. Illusory obstacles. It's like a door knocker. That's like a door knocker. Something that's like we are afraid to. That's the fear. Illusory fear. Fear holding us back from opening a door or opening a window to let the fresh breeze in. Something we're afraid to go forward with. Yeah, so like I kind of had this teaching moment within myself the other day, and I was thinking that it's going to come out, but like there's these like irrational inbuilt fears that have this space within us. Like, for example, I was filling the sink up to wash the dishes. And so, like, I'm living with my mum at the moment. And I'm filling the sink up. And, you know, I was doing a couple of different things at the same time. And the sink got quite full. And I turned around and I'm like, oh shit, that's a bit too full. And this fear of getting into trouble for using too much water, for that my mum wasn't even home. But I had this like fear come up within me that I was going to get into trouble because, you know, there's just too much water in the sink. I should have, you know, been paying more attention, and I've wasted the water and I'm going to get into trouble. And I was going through this process within myself, like after I did it, like you know how you start talking to yourself, like I was having this conversation with my mum of being into trouble, like being told off, and me kind of replying to being told off, like, oh shit. And then, you know, you go through this like, oh shit, like I better fix it before I get into trouble or before anyone sees. And this is just me filling up the sink with water. But there is a million things every day that we do that this voice, this fear comes in, completely irrational fear of bodily harm for doing something wrong. And I was thinking, because, you know, this whole epigenetics thing, like, I mean, it is so irrational that it's got to be something deeper. And I do absolutely feel that our past lives, like our really shit past lives and everything, play a part in our current lives. The fear that we feel when we want to go do something, it's this persecution imprint thing as well. Like in some of our past lives, we may have been burnt at the stake for speaking our mind. We may have been raped in our mind for showing an ankle. Or, we may have been our hand cut off for taking an apple. This is an extreme. We've all experienced extreme, over the top consequences for something that is so that shouldn't have had that consequence, completely over the top consequence for something that we've done, which has implanted within us, within our souls, a fear of hyper awareness of what's going to happen if we do this. That's the only way I can kind of rationalize it. This extreme fear. On so many different levels, we have this fear come up within ourselves. And it is illusory. It is an illusion. It is not in this current reality. For example, the sink and me filling it up with water and literally feeling fear of the reaction. And this is just filling a sink up with water, so that's going to show the level of fear that I have felt from what's going to happen, other people's opinions of what I'm doing over my entire life on a million different levels, areas of whatever. But I absolutely see that we all have these things, and these fears that come up, irrational, control us. They the fear controls us if we don't get a handle on it, if we don't look into it and actually think about, why am I feeling this way? Is this actually reality, or is this illusory? Is this, where is this coming from? Is this coming from what is going to happen in this current reality, or is there another reason? And more often than not, the majority of us don't even consider that there is another option. They just feel the fear and change their behaviour in order to alleviate that fear, or try and what I'm kind of getting at. So overcoming that fear in the moment through really going into it and thinking, is this fear actually useful for me right now, or is it not relevant? That's what we need to do, and overcoming that each time through logic and like feeling into the reality of your situation, is where we tame the dragon. Like we overcome our fears. We the ego. There's an ego death at each time, because it is the ego that has this fear embedded in it through, as a protective mechanism. But that protective mechanism may not be from this lifetime. It may be from freaking, so many other things. Yeah. So, ego taming. Taming the beast, which is, the fear. Fear turns us into creatures that are not our true selves. It puts masks on ourselves. It makes us lie. It makes us hide. It makes us run from our true path. We've got hush, listen. That might be, like our true self. Like asking ourselves to look a little bit deeper in the moment. We've got grow together. Which is like, it's a union card. What do you seek? Being bullheaded. It is time. And connection is necessary. Two heads, trunks intertwined. A queen bee. Time to rise. Tell your story. Have faith. Blinded by bias. Life's a juggle. Balance your energy. Leaf of fortune. Shameless sensuality. And know your labels. I think this is, honestly, overcoming, it's the masculine overcoming the fears of the feminine, of the true direction, of union, being pig-headed, bull-headed. Like, I'm too tough to open my heart. Like a man doesn't open his heart. Being bullheaded, I'm not too stubborn to move, too stubborn to open the door. When that is his true path. Knowledge is power, seek inspiration. An unfair judgment on shameless sensuality. Be a curious creature of life. Life's a juggle made for motion. Seek and you shall find the leap of fortune, the frogs. Knowledge is power. Undeserving villains. The key to wisdom. Trust in science. See the patterns. Balance your energy. Time to rise. Right. Connection is necessary. It is time. Queen Bee. There is no obstacles. Open your mind. It's about time. So I'll do some matching. So I've really been getting into the language and the foundation languages. So the origin of all the languages. And so we've got the I Ching by the CH. Can also be a K. So then it's like I King. Chi, which is like, the energy. So it's just like Ki, the king chi, the king energy is Ki, but Ki is also it's like is K the same as car? Because it's kind of like, so alright, so the chi, the key is the energy, the king is the energy, ka is the soul. What just came into my head is like bukkake. It's like ridiculous, but so we've got ki, chi, which is energy flow, which is the electro, which is masculine king energy. So like I Ching, I Ki, I King is the dynamic energy force, movement, flow, masculine flow, energy movement. Ka is Ka is like your true soul. So Ka Ki is your like higher self, soul flowing. And Ba is a wise person, like an elder. So Bakaki is like an elder, higher soul energy in motion. So that's what Bakaki means. And I'm getting, you know, the semen, the old, the wise elders that came in on the boats to spread their wisdom, to seed their wisdom, the semen, you know, like, trying to pronounce it in my head before I speak it. Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl. They kind of like told me like drop the Q but keep the sound like Quetzalcoatl. It's not Quetz, it's Quetzalcoatl. Something like that anyway. But anyway, like the bluebirds, the semen. Bakaki. And they bakakied all over the all over the earth at that point. The semen flew. Yeah, so this is how they teach me. The wise and funny forefathers. So we've got 42 of the I Ching, of the I Ching King. The language is, our language is fucking ridiculous. Like, it gets to a point, like when you really look into it, where nothing means nothing, and then it's just like, well, what does anything mean? This is what freaking Thoth does to my head. So, I Ching, I King, I Ching, the I Ching King, Ichni, Sanchi, go. It's Chichen Itza. Anyway, this is how they kind of like teach me, like way back in the day when they bukakied all over when they sowed their seed, bukakied all over all over the world, the bluebirds and the seamen, all their wisdoms, it came out in all different ways. It resulted in different things all over, but it started out the same way. And you can look in all the different areas how it's come out, and it's like it does my head in, because like, for example, like it really started out with just sounds like car, K-A, car, and like kami as like a nature spirit, and you know, it breaks down into these sounds like car, me, and each kind of area wrote, developed language around sounds in different ways, like spelling wise, like chi, and you know, like, or key, it could be C-H-I or K-E-Y or Q-U. There's so many different ways sounds developed, like it originated with sound, and language developed, like the written language developed in a million different ways, and so we see it now today as completely different, but it really all started exactly the same verbally with this sounds, and we've developed, our language has developed in different ways around the world. So you know, you have to look into it, but really this is what I'm trying to like go, I'm trying to freaking reverse engineer all these different things, and so many of things that I go into end up being the exact same story said in a different way, or spelled differently, like same name but spelled differently, or same meaning to the story. You know, for example, the 10 Commandments type deal has been told all over the world in different ways. Same stories all over the world told in different ways. And, you know, this is, I mean, it's mind-boggling that we're still fighting over which way is best when they're all saying the exact same fucking thing. All the information is out there. All you have to do is freaking look into it and realize where it all came from. And that, and they're literally still telling us, you know, the same thing in a different way, in a different way today again. Like, it is the same energetic message translated into the times of the day, told in a story, dynamic of the day, each freaking over and over and over again. And you know, some civilizations went freaking fully fucking over the top with making a bloody, you know, religion out of a teaching moment. It's like some of these teaching moments freaking spiraled into like full snowball effect, like. And then there's other religions and everything that have the exact same story as part of their thing, but they certainly you know, it didn't snowball like it has in other parts of the freaking world. And when you start really freaking looking at it all, it's really mind-boggling that still today we've still got going on what we've got going on. It's just fucking ridiculous anyway. 42. Increasing. Fruitful to have a direction to go. Fruitful to cross the great river. The old Chinese character. The old Chinese character for increasing shows a pot filled to overflowing. It means blessing and superabundance. Respond with purpose and movement. Let yourself imagine where you want to be and take the first steps that commit you to getting there. This is how to keep the momentum. What would you do if you knew you were blessed? What if there were no limits? What could change for the better? What if all your fear was taken away? What would you do? What if you got a little sneak peek from your future self, from one of your future selves, from the best future self version that you could imagine? If you got a sneak peek to that and said, this is yours, what would you do to get there? And how would that vision of the reality coming true inspire you to get there? And then it's like, well, it's like a bit of the chicken or the egg type thing, right? If your future self didn't give you a sneak peek, would you have got there? Maybe in some version of the reality, but yeah. It's an interesting thought to have that, you know, if your future self is talking to you and that future version of you is living the best fucking life that you could imagine for yourself, like the best, like truly, you know, the authentic best life, past all the bullshit kind of gameplay best life, like I want this and I want that, but the truly best life that you could be living and enjoying every day. What does that look like? And if that future version of yourself is coaching you to get there, what are you doing each day, you know, about that? And if they're telling you, it's you telling you that, you know, do this, do that, you know, you can do it, you can get through it, like, it is like confirmation that you can get it. Would you do it? Would you follow your own advice, your future self's advice, who's in your heaven on earth, coaching you? Would you listen to yourself? And if not, why not? If they're living your fucking fantasy life, why would you not listen to them? 34, great vigor. Constancy bears fruit. With great vigor, you stand upright and robust, full of resilient energy, inspired and animated by strong purpose. You are ready to wield your strength like a hero. To yield results, you will need to act with steadiness and consistency, standing in your strength, but without mistaking it for omnipotence. How will you use your power? Where do you stand? Flow, small goes, great comes, good fortune, creating success. Flow is a sign of the full expression of tremendous creative energy and spiritual power. Create harmony with the greater flow and pour its energy into creative manifestation. Pettiness and smaller concerns are swept away so that free communication and great things become possible. How will you work with this extraordinary potential? How can you channel the flow of energy to create harmony? Retreat, creating success. Constancy yields a small harvest. Retreat means withdrawing from what can harm you as a way to keep yourself whole. When you retreat, you hide yourself away so that you won't lose yourself. In offering no resistance and creating no friction, retreating bears fruit in small, inconspicuous ways. What must you do to stay safe and whole? How can you change your relationships so they support your integrity? It's exactly what I was saying before about, creating the space for the inner child. Just saying that in this video, in the last video, I'm not sure. Because your authenticity, your self-sovereignty is your inner child. And you have to create the space in order for your inner child, your authentic voice to be heard, to be spoken, to be comfortable in order to start expressing and following your true path, which is your inner child, your purity, the pure you, and creating the safe space around you, environment, is the tricky thing, because so many relationships are aggravating, not conducive to allow that freedom of you to come out. As society as it stands today. So yeah, like I was saying, a lot of the time the hardest thing is not nothing that you're doing, it's more that it is adjusting your relationships, adjusting your environment, the relationships, to be honest, the people around you, and how you interact with the people around you. Because it's not like, a lot of the time you can't just walk away from your life. Like, you have to literally continue to have relationships with these people, but you have to change these relationships in order to start being the true you. And that means boundaries and dynamics seriously changing in order for you to truly start expressing your authentic self. And that is the hardest thing. If we could all just freaking walk away from our lives, like be the hermits, or go and start a new life in a different country, or walk away from our responsibilities and be our true selves, like that would be so much easier. But most of us have to literally adjust every relationship in our world in order for us to start to become our true selves. And so it's so tricky. A lot of the time it disrupts every single relationship, you know, the majority of them, you know, you have to be in your life still, and yet all those relationships either have to be ended or seriously adjusted, changed, you know, to the point of your entire life like no relationships, no relationship is the same. Like you have, you know, if none of the people in your world are authentic, it is an extremely limited relationship that you can have with them if you are becoming your authentic self, because authenticity can only connect, allow for authenticity. And if the other people aren't authentic, can't meet you where you are becoming, they have to step aside. You know, you have to leave them by the wayside, or create a dynamic which works for your world. Very extremely tricky when you're talking about family, when you're talking about, you know, like the parents of your children and your children and your parents and your siblings, and you know, these are the oldest relationships you've had, and everything has to change. Like, that's a difficult thing. That's 64, not yet across. At the end of the I Ching, nothing is complete, everything is in flux. A wise fox will only attempt to cross when the river is solid ice, and then treading carefully, every sense alert. When you are not yet across, you may be hesitating on the verge of a transition, sensing if it's safe to commit yourself. Use the skills of the wise fox. How to prepare for the crossing. How will you know when it's time? Biting through, creating success, fruitful to use legal proceedings. It's time to bite through to the truth of the situation and deal with any obstacles fiercely. It will help to use the determination of an investigator or a judge intent on restoring the world to good order, who will let nothing stand between them and the truth. What must you do to get to the truth? How can you become more effective? Small taming. Number 9. Come from Western altars. I'm going to do my tongue then. A time of restraint brings great hope for future growth and success. But it may feel more like frustration and setbacks where things don't quite work yet. You must cultivate the situation and yourself in small ways, caring for the details, developing your readiness and fitness conscientiously. Small steps, creating big change. transformation, the rainbow human, and the master manifester, the crow, and the spider, the space spider, the Nancy, the burning head, the plant, the tunnel, the ancestor, the limb. So with those ones, the burning head, the plant, I'm getting like plant medicine and crystals melting, like DMT. And the tunnel is, you know, the waking up, transformation. The ancestors are obviously assisting. The ladder and the string. Yeah, oh my god, so it's everything that I was getting from looking at those pictures is the waking up. And the limb that is freaking disconnected from the body, detachable. I was literally talking about this to myself today, as I do. It's like the twin flame thing. It's like, you know, so this is what I was talking to myself, like the twin flame experience is like being a, you know, if you've heard about, you know, the expression being equally yoked, like you're the same weight, same, you know, the same yoke, you've got the same innards, the same goings on inside. Two eggs are the same. Being like a twin flame is like being a conjoined twin that's been separated, and always feeling this separation that nothing can satisfy, no one can meet until you come across your twin flame and you have this remembering, this is the limb that I'm missing. So it's like, you know, having a limb cut off. You go through your whole life with this limb missing, not knowing you've got a limb missing, but knowing that you're missing something and trying to fill. It's like a hole that you're trying to fill, and no one can fucking fill it. And you're trying to explain, you end up feeling that you're the crazy one until you fucking meet your limb, you know, your missing limb, your, you know, the other yoke to your double yoker. I mean, that's what you are as a twin flame. You're the double yoker egg. You're not equally yoked. You're from the same fucking egg. But we're separated. And, you know, that's the difference of like the whole twin flame to soulmate or an equally yoked individual. You were a double yoker. So a double yoker that was separated. So you were like a conjoined twin. You were literally connected. And and then separated. Nothing, no one, no matter how equally yoked they are, can match your conjoined twin, can match your fellow double yoker individual, your twin. That is the difference. And that is, having that, like having a limb cut off and it itching and aching, and it's not there but it's fucking there, and you can't stop the itch, you can't stop the ache. Doesn't matter what you try and fucking attach to that, it's not your fucking limb. It is not your twin. No one can cut it. Nothing. You try and fill that void with that hole, that space, that it is not what you know is meant to be there. And that is your twin. That is the feeling. And so it's fucking, when it was there, it was fucking amazing. But when it's gone, it itches, it aches, it's not there. Something should be there and it's not there. And that's what the fucking, the limb is. And, realizing that, because your whole life you have this freaking itch and nothing fills it and blah, 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 blah. You literally go, you end up thinking you're crazy. Like, it is a really hard experience, actually. You're not normal because you've got something missing your entire life. Like, it's like you're a conjoined twin, but you never knew it your entire life. And then, like, you meet your conjoined twin and it's just like, well, it's not really a normal experience to have. Like, this can't be really real. Like, surely anyone else would, do or whatever. And you have to go through so much fucking, like, internal stuff that, because, like, literally we've tried to attach other limbs to ourselves to replace our missing limb. And, when our missing limb arrives and we've got these other limbs attached that we've tried to fucking fill that space with, well, that doesn't go. And so, like, you literally have to go back to your natural state in order to join with your conjoined twin again. You need to be in a clean, you need to fucking cut off that shit that you tried to seal the wound with, that the space that your twin should be attaching. If that makes any sense. But that's like the coming together and then the separation of the twins, because you've literally got to clean that wound off. You got to have a clean space in order to rejoin to your twin properly, in order for that the sewing of the wounds, in order to heal each other, to become whole again. But that is what the only thing that will satisfy this inner itch, this inner ache that we are missing part of ourselves, because we are individuals that were the double yokers that were separated. And our whole being is this like need to come back together. To the point, I don't know what the experience of anyone else has, because I've just got this need that I need my twin. No one else will do. No one else has ever done. Yeah, pretty crazy experience. But double yokers aren't that common. It's not a common thing. It's not completely. It's not like, you do come across the double yoker, but it's not like it happens every day. A double yoker is double yoker, and a normal egg's a normal egg. It is what it is. This is our experience, and that's, their experience. A single yoker egg doesn't know what it's like to be a double yoker. A double yoker does not know what it's like to be a single yoker, but it lives in a single yoker reality. And so the majority of the time, the double yoker thinks it's got something wrong with it and it needs to fit into the single yoker society, until it realizes that that's not me. That's why I feel so fucking weird, is because I'm actually a double yoker. That's like, one of the ways I've been kind of, that I was being schooled on how it kind of is. Because, it would be really great to get rid of this, the itch, the ache, the need, the constant fucking connection, need, ache, want. Can't get them out of my fucking beingness. It's not just thinking, it is living. It is and that's the quantum side of it, like we are literally particles entangled. And it's like you literally can't get them out of your field, your energetic makeup, your daily reality, constant. So yeah, it does, it makes you pretty fucking crazy, but also it is a completely different reality to the normal egg. It's an amazing experience, like twins have this, communication and connection, and, conjoined twins even more so, that they are literally, it's like they're of each other. There's just like next level connection. So there's a magic in there, but it's also when you've been separated, it is. I mean, you can imagine two little babies that have been together and connected, part of each other for their little lives, and then they're separated, and how isolating that feels. Like they're isolating. How lonely they must feel when they're separated. And that's what our lives are like. And that's why we try and fill the holes, and that's why we try and attach parts to ourselves to make that pain and itch stop. But it doesn't until we finally come together. And the majority of the time, the healing the separation and everything, the healing is so fucking intense because we've been so screwed up through the separation for so long that we didn't know what was going on within us. The pain, the ache, the need, the want to be home, to be reunited, to like we're missing something constantly. Like that takes a toll. Like, and what you do to try and deal with that pain, the consequences of that takes a toll. And so you have to heal all that shit. You have to scrape that wound. You literally have to scrape, the wound away to make it fresh again. Like you have to go through all that pain and all that cleansing in order to clean the wound, in order to reattach. And that's fucking ridiculously intense. But because all your beingness wants to reconnect, needs to reconnect, you will literally do anything in order to do that. And that's why we are like the pure best, like wounded healers. Because we literally go through the full gamut, the most intense destruction and reconstruction, literally being cut in half and having holes in ourselves, filling them in every different way you could imagine, and then having to rip them off ourselves and then heal it in order to then be reattached. Like we literally go through the full fucking gamut of every fucking thing that you can do out of pain and longing and isolation and trying to self-heal, self-soothe, friggin' like everything. And that's where the wisdoms, like there's so much wisdoms to come from twin flame connections, because we literally go through the full gamut in order to try and deal with it and then try and heal from it, and then the fucking miracles of reconnecting and the love that comes from it. Like, it's the full fucking gamut of experience. So yeah, the double yoga experience of reality is different from the single yoga. And so yeah, it is really full, really full on. Mind-blowing on all levels. From every which way you look at it, it is extreme. But it's the good, the bad, the bliss, the magic in every way. Yeah. Yeah. Glory, glory. Hallelujah. I don't know where that's come in. The power of love. I don't know. I guess the big one there is that there are actually different experiences to be had. There are actually, I mean obviously, but there are some severely different, like varying experiences had within individuals and their connections, and to respect those differences. They all have different purposes and meanings, but you know, I guess like I'm here a part of a twin flame, the double yoga type conjoined twin experience is that there is so much wisdom within it, and it stems from pain. So respect the journey of the individuals that go through this pain for love, because we go through this pain for the love in order to share our wisdoms on the processes of both sides of the spectrum, in order to help everyone else on every side of their spectrum, because we go through the extreme on both purely out of a love-based, like authentic need love base. We go through the full gamut of experience, and it's like a pureness. It's a pure, authentic experience of pain, isolation, longing, reconnection, healing, and loving from a place of pure original connection. And that's where like the beauty of that experience can be, and the wisdom gained from that can be shared with everyone, for everyone to gain something from it. It truly is really something that should be respected. Yeah. I'll leave it there. It's you know, love is a serious business, and it's painful. It's not an easy thing to do. Yeah. Respect, hey. Respect the journey.